You might have heard about the dangers of radiation, right? Some of them hold records for the most radioactive person in history. A physicist had an incident after dropping a brick, a teen glows from radium dust, or a worker survives 83 days after a nuclear chain reaction. From the Demon Core to the Goiânia accident, reveal the cost of radiation. How many have you heard before? Let's find out. The plutonium-gallium core was originally manufactured for a potential third atomic bomb during World War II. Following Japan's surrender in August 1945, the core was redirected for research at the Los Alamos Laboratory. On August 21, 1945, physicist Harry Daghlian was conducting an experiment involving neutron reflection using tungsten carbide bricks. During the process, his equipment began indicating elevated radiation levels. An accidental slip caused a brick to fall onto the core, resulting in a burst of blue Cherenkov radiation, a visual effect linked to high neutron activity. In an attempt to correct the situation, Daghlian tried to remove the brick but was unsuccessful. Though the experiment was halted, he was exposed to a high level of radiation and, despite medical efforts, passed away weeks later due to radiation-related complications. A similar incident occurred on May 21, 1946, during a separate demonstration involving physicist Louis Slotin, who also succumbed to radiation exposure several days after the event. If a single drop brick could unleash radiation, what happens when exposure becomes part of your daily routine without you even knowing? Over a century ago, glow-in-the-dark watches gained popularity due to their luminous paint, which contained radium, a radioactive element discovered by Marie and Pierre Curie in 1898. In 1916, the United States Radium Corporation established a factory in Orange, New Jersey, employing around 70 women to hand-paint watch dials. They were instructed to shape their brushes using their lips, a technique known as lip pointing, and were falsely assured that it was safe. Unknowingly, this method led to the regular ingestion of radioactive particles. At the time, radium was widely misunderstood and even marketed as beneficial, appearing in toothpaste, cosmetics, and novelty drinks. However, exposure to it proved hazardous. The fine dust clung to the workers' skin and clothing, creating a faint glow they initially found fascinating, but the health risks were severe. In 1922, one former painter, Mali Maggia, began experiencing serious dental issues that progressed rapidly. Despite medical treatment, her condition worsened, and she passed away later that year due to complications from radiation exposure. One notable worker, Maybelle Williams, reportedly began at age 16 and lived to be over 100 years old, residing in Olympia, Washington, as of 2015. These women are remembered as the Radium Girls, individuals who endured great hardship and helped pave the way for stronger protections for workers everywhere. But what if the danger wasn't just misunderstood? It was ignored in the face of a ticking clock. Next. On September 30, 1999, a serious nuclear accident occurred at a uranium processing facility in Tokushima, Japan. 3 technicians, Hisashi Ouchi, Masato Shinohara, and Yutaka Yokokawa, were assigned to prepare nuclear fuel under significant time pressure. In an effort to speed up the process, they deviated from established safety protocols. A sudden burst of Cherenkov radiation, a blue glow caused by a nuclear chain reaction, signaled a criticality event. Radiation rapidly spread through the room. Ouchi, who was closest to the reaction site, was exposed to a particularly high dose. Emergency protocols were initiated, and the facility was evacuated. All 3 workers were transported to a specialized medical institute in Chiba for treatment. Despite intensive care, Ouchi passed away in December 1999 after weeks of complications. Shinohara died several months later. Yokokawa survived but was later charged with professional negligence. The incident resulted in over 6,800 compensation claims and more than $1.2 billion in damages. It prompted major reforms in Japan's nuclear safety protocols and highlighted the dire consequences of overlooking procedure in handling radioactive materials. Radiation from an accident is one thing. But what if it's used as a weapon, with precision and intent? Stay tuned. The incident of Alexander Litvinenko, a former Russian intelligence officer, is considered one of the most complex poisoning cases in modern times. On November 1, 2006, Litvinenko met with former FSB agents Andrei Lugovoy and Dmitry Kovtun at the Millennium Hotel's Pine Bar in London. Later that day, he began experiencing serious health issues and was hospitalized as his condition rapidly worsened. He was transferred to University College Hospital, where medical teams struggled to identify the cause. Routine tests were inconclusive, and radiation scans revealed no anomalies. Eventually, a specialized laboratory identified polonium-210, a rare radioactive isotope, as the likely source of exposure. This substance emits alpha particles, is difficult to detect with standard equipment, and is extremely toxic in minute quantities. Litvinenko passed away on November 23, 22 days after the suspected exposure. Traces of the radioactive material were discovered in various locations linked to the individuals he met. A British public inquiry in 2016 concluded that the incident was probably approved at high levels of the Russian government. Now, let's shift from espionage to explosion. What happens when a chemical blast mixes with radioactive material in a sealed lab? Before we continue, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just press the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It means the world. It really supports this channel. And if you do that for me, I promise my team and I will do everything we can to make this show even better for you. Deal? On August 30, 1976, Harold McCluskey, a technician at the Hanford site's plutonium finishing plant in Richland, Washington, experienced a significant radiation incident involving americium-241, a radioactive isotope. A chemical reaction involving nitric acid caused an explosion inside a sealed glove box. The force of the blast dislodged his protective gear, resulting in injuries to his face and temporary vision loss. McCluskey was exposed to an exceptionally high dose of radiation, well above federal safety limits. He was placed in medical isolation, where a team of specialists treated him using chelation therapy, a method designed to help remove radioactive elements from the body. Over nearly a year, he underwent extensive treatment and monitoring. Although he did not develop cancer, McCluskey experienced long-term health effects, including kidney issues and heart complications. Released from care in July 1977, he also encountered social challenges due to public fear of radiation exposure. He later filed a compensation claim against the U.S. government. McCluskey passed away in August 1987 from heart disease, with medical experts attributing his death to natural causes rather than radiation exposure. We've seen one accident with the Demon Core. But unbelievably, that same core struck again. This time with even higher stakes. On May 21, 1946, Canadian physicist Louis Slotin was conducting a criticality experiment at the Los Alamos Laboratory in New Mexico using a plutonium-gallium core already known as the Demon Core. He used a manual technique involving a beryllium hemisphere and a screwdriver to maintain a narrow gap, an improvised method informally referred to as tickling the dragon's tail. During the procedure, the screwdriver slipped. The hemispheres closed completely, triggering a supercritical reaction. A flash of Cherenkov radiation lit the room, and an intense burst of gamma and neutron radiation followed. Slotin and 7 others were exposed to varying levels of radiation. He received a high dose that led to serious health complications. Slotin began experiencing symptoms within minutes and was hospitalized. Despite extensive medical care, he passed away 9 days later, on May 30th. His death was attributed to radiation-related complications. This was the second accident involving the same core. Physicist Harry Daghlian had died in a similar incident 9 months earlier. Following Slotin's incident, Los Alamos permanently ended hands-on criticality testing. His actions and the risks involved led to lasting reforms in laboratory safety protocols. Was Slotin a tragic risk-taker or a necessary sacrifice in a dangerous time? Should experiments with the Demon Core have ended sooner? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective adds value to the history we explore. Dr. Eric Voice, a British nuclear scientist, participated in a unique UK government-backed medical study in the early 1990s to better understand how trace levels of plutonium-239 behave within the TRAC. Under strict medical supervision, he was exposed to carefully measured and controlled quantities of the substance for scientific analysis. The purpose was to observe how it was processed by the body, tracking absorption, distribution, and elimination. The study was conducted by the UK Atomic Energy Authority with full oversight and safety protocols in place. All biological materials were handled following rigorous radiological standards to ensure safety. Despite some media portrayals, medical assessments found no radiation-related health effects during or after the study. Dr. Voice passed away in September 2004 from motor neuron disease, with independent experts confirming no connection between his illness and the research. His voluntary contribution provided meaningful data to the field of nuclear medicine and public health, conducted without harm to himself or others. However, in Brazil, curiosity about a glowing substance would lead to one of the worst radiation incidents in the Western Hemisphere. On September 13, 1987, a major radiological incident occurred in Goiânia, Brazil, after 2 individuals entered an abandoned radiotherapy clinic and removed a medical device containing cesium-137, a radioactive isotope used in cancer treatment. Attracted by the glowing blue material inside, they transported it to a local junkyard owned by Dever Ferreira, who believed it had value. Unaware of the danger, he shared it with friends and family, unintentionally dispersing radioactive particles throughout the neighborhood. The consequences were bad. 4 people lost their lives, including a young child and the junkyard owner's wife. Nearly 250 individuals experienced significant radiation exposure, and over 112,000 people were tested for potential contact. In response, authorities launched a large-scale cleanup effort. Contaminated structures were removed, affected soil was excavated, and safety protocols were enacted to prevent further spread. The incident was classified as Level 5 on the International Nuclear Event Scale, reflecting a serious failure in the control of radioactive materials. The Goiânia accident led to public concern and prompted significant improvements in Brazil's nuclear safety regulations. On December 30, 1958, a serious radiation incident occurred at the Los Alamos Scientific Laboratory in New Mexico, resulting in the accident of Cecil Kelley, a 38-year-old chemical operator with over a decade of experience. Kelley was working with a mixing tank used to recover trace amounts of plutonium-239. Due to earlier improper waste transfers, the plutonium concentration had unintentionally exceeded safe limits. When the mixer was activated, the solution reached a critical state, releasing a sudden burst of neutron and gamma radiation, along with a visible blue Cherenkov flash. Kelley, positioned directly above the tank, was exposed to a high level of radiation. Disoriented, he exited the lab and was initially treated for what was believed to be a chemical exposure. He was transported to a hospital for further care. Despite medical intervention, Kelley's condition deteriorated, and he passed away approximately 35 hours later, on December 31, 1958. The event led to major revisions in nuclear safety protocols. Do you think radiation safety today is strong enough to prevent another Kelley? Or are we still underestimating the risks of working with forces we can't see? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel to discover more interesting things. On March 11, 2011, a magnitude 9.0 earthquake followed by a massive tsunami struck Japan's northeast coast, severely damaging the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The disaster resulted in core meltdowns in reactors 1 through 3, marking one of the most significant nuclear incidents in modern history. Approximately 800 workers were present during the emergency. As radiation levels rose, most personnel were evacuated. However, a group of about 50 workers, later referred to as the Fukushima 50, remained on site to help stabilize the reactors and contain further damage. These individuals operated under extremely challenging conditions, including high temperatures, limited resources, and intermittent power failures. Despite safety measures, some faced elevated radiation exposure. According to Japan's Ministry of Health, a small number of workers received doses above emergency reference levels. In 2018, Japanese authorities acknowledged the first case of a work-related health impact linked to radiation exposure from the incident. The efforts of the Fukushima 50 are widely recognized for averting a larger catastrophe and prompting renewed global attention on nuclear safety and emergency preparedness. Of course, this wasn't the first time nuclear infrastructure faced an accident. Decades earlier, a fire in the UK lit the fuse for safety reform. On October 10, 1957, a major fire broke out at the Windscale nuclear facility in Cumbria, England, now known as Sellafield. Originally built to produce plutonium for the United Kingdom's atomic weapons program, the fire originated in reactor pile 1 and burned for several days, releasing radioactive materials including iodine-131 and polonium-210 into the atmosphere. Radioactive fallout was detected across parts of the United Kingdom and mainland Europe. As a precaution, authorities ordered the disposal of milk from approximately 500 square kilometers of nearby farmland to limit potential exposure. Plant Deputy Manager Tom Tuohy led emergency response efforts, reportedly inspecting the reactor multiple times under hazardous conditions. Teams eventually used water to cool the reactor, a risky but effective strategy that helped extinguish the fire. A study conducted in 2010 reported no overall increase in cancer rates among response workers, although individuals with higher exposure showed a higher risk of certain illnesses. Estimates suggest the incident may have contributed to a limited number of additional health cases over time. Initial details of the event were not fully disclosed to the public, in part due to national security considerations. The incident later became a catalyst for significant reforms in the UK's nuclear safety and transparency standards. And while many of these events were public, some were hidden for decades, like the explosion in the USSR that left thousands displaced and the land sealed off. On September 29, 1957, a serious nuclear accident occurred at the Mayak plutonium production facility near Kyshtym in the former Soviet Union. A cooling system failure in a tank containing approximately 70 to 80 tons of liquid radioactive waste triggered a chemical explosion, releasing radioactive material into the surrounding environment. The blast contaminated an estimated 23,000 square kilometers, later designated as the East Ural radioactive trace. Over the following 2 years, around 10,000 residents from 22 nearby villages were relocated, although some evacuations were delayed. In subsequent years, the region was officially designated as the East Ural Nature Reserve, limiting public access. Initial details of the incident were not made public, and the event remained largely unknown internationally until the late 1980s. Studies suggest that hundreds of thousands of people may have been exposed to elevated radiation levels. Reports indicate increased long-term health concerns among affected populations, prompting later scientific and public health reviews. Today, the Kyshtym disaster is recognized as one of the most significant nuclear accidents in history, drawing attention to the importance of transparency and safety in managing radioactive materials. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I hope you'll love this content. Comment below about the next topic you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.